F1 2020 Driver Career Mode. What a journey it has been, spanning 6 seasons and 89 episodes. But let's revisit some of that journey today, ahead of the finale at Brazil. I started my career at AlphaTauri back in Season 1. A midfield team looking to impress the Red Bull. And so we did impress Red Bull, indeed, at the Red Bull Ring. Hold on, but this isn't over yet. What can we do up to P3? Lance Stroll's now on our right hand side, and he's dive bombed down the inside. He's touched Stroll. We've had to leave off because otherwise we're being pincered and out the way. We'll get a replay on Stroll in just a moment, but first, of course, we're going to dispatch with Ocon down the inside in turn 4. And thank you very much. Up into P7, and Albon follows us through there. But this is a replay with Stroll. He just literally hits that yellow sausage curve, which puts him into Ocon. And only with this series, yes, every time someone retires, it's a safety car. So the safety car is out, and we're in the pit lane. We're gonna change this up. I'm surprised nobody else has come in, although hang on, Ocon's in as well. But we're sort of really holding on. Bottas has closed the set. He's done personal bests, fastest sectors, and he's now within DRS range as well. So it's going to be a 3-horse race to see who can win this race. Ocon's going to have a go around the outside, going into turn 1. He's going to give us DRS as well. We do cut the curbing as well and cut across him. That's going to allow Bottas to get ahead of Ocon. The DRS has failed. Going into turn 3, I didn't realise that it's stuck in the open position. We go absolutely off circuit. That should not be a warning. Street that should be wiped off really. But Bottas now is the main man. He could rob us. He's got fresher tyres and a faster car. And we are to lift off as well because DRS is stuck open. This is not where we want to do. Bottas is having a look around the outside. There's no way we're going to let him go through there. We make contact with the Finnish driver. That could be curtains for his chances of getting victory here. I mean, he wants the maximum points ahead of Leclerc, who's outside the points. But here's a replay. I'm not allowing him to get the gap there. It's not really an overtaking spot, that corner. But he is still lined up. Can he get himself through there? We've got to take it carefully through these final 2 corners. But Bottas has lift off. He may have got some front wing damage. Up to the line we come. So again, our first Grand Prix of this season, our first in this career mode, and our first for AlphaTauri. That result got me a drive Red Bull for Season 2. However, despite winning multiple Grand Prix in Season 2, we fell short of claiming the Drivers' World Championship to Leclerc. One drive though stood out in particular, starting from the back at the French Grand Prix, coming through the field for a fine drive. Anyway, 5 lights are on, and eventually we're out, and we initially bogged down, so does everybody else, in the unrealistic tyre smoke that doesn't really happen in real life. We're coming down into turn 1. We have to take avoiding action to avoid the back of Stroll, I think that was. We get a warning with Kvyat, and we could be forced out by Magnussen there. That's going to allow De Vries to come back out the inside. We're going to try and squeeze it around the outside. That will turn to the inside. We've got Ocon and Giovinazzi having a bing bang. But can we get round to the outside of Magnussen into this corner? Will K-Mag give us a space? No, he won't. That's just like Canada. Ocon now tries to come back at us. We're going to take a leaf out of Kevin Magnussen's book and try and squeeze him to the outside there, but we do get the momentum now with the second stage of overtake mode. It does that, and we all have to take avoiding action almost again as Ocon, and we should be ahead of, we might be ahead of Bottas, you know. Yes, Bottas has had a woeful outstint there. He's 2 seconds behind us now, and we're going into hyperdrive mode to see if we can catch up and get ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. His AI has sort of picked up a trait back on 2019. When he moves on to those harder tyres, he just literally falls back. and that's pretty much what happened. What's happened there, he's gone back down into 8th place. Bottas is catching up to him, I mean, compared to Mercedes. But a miracle happened. We set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on lap 10. I'm not sure if Albon's got any damage or not as we're watching. Nick de Vries is out of this race with a failure. That's another failure for Haas. That's very ominous. As we catch up to Sergio Perez, look at the train that Albon is causing. I mean, this week we're the fastest person on this track. It's like if you've been subscribed to the channel this long, Final Fantasy Season 3 Monaco, where Gasly in a Renault was leading as we're going to make this an easy move on Perez. He was oh no, well it was an easy move. We're going to have to stick this to the outside, force Perez to the inside on the curving, and there we go. The second part of the thing is Ricciardo is still holding up Bottas, so he's not going to really make any inroads on us. But yes, it was like that. It's like this really, where none of the people behind can really get past the leader. As we're looking now at Sebastian Vettel, we go wide. That's going to allow us to get Vettel slow through that section. It wasn't really meant to be an overtake, just like in Canada, but nevertheless we are through. I didn't really mean to do that. I mean, the understeer there really forced us wide with the tyres slowly going off, getting a bit of mould onto them as we now round the outside of Charles Leclerc. Now we're going to try and slipstream, but of course Ferrari has still got their illegal power unit in this game inside there. Hopefully Codemasters again will have a performance patch, so then the Ferrari are actually where they're supposed to be in power. But we do get past eventually, and that leads us on to this is the final lap as well. Lap number 13. We're looking now down the inside of Lewis Hamilton at the end of the thing. We force him out as well. Gasly has got in front of Albon as well, and that's allowed us to have a little look. Albon closes us off. We have contact with Albon, and we do get a warning for that, but really we're not really getting on as teammates. As he has a look up or inside, we're going to force him out into the Lewis Hamilton. I'm not really happy that he hasn't allowed us to go past, because that's potentially, well, it will have cost the rest of the race when Gasly's too far ahead and he's making a little bit too much of it. But that's a concern that Albon really, we've beaten him for a couple of races now. Potentially it's a great finish for us, and I'm absolutely ecstatic that we've managed to get 2nd place, not 5th, from 20th on the grid. After a difficult start to Season 3 where I got thrown out of Red Bull, I joined Renault and came for a good finish at Monza, the only time that the yellow car was at the front of the grid. Where left rear is somehow on 14% already. Don't know how that's happening, but we jumped to lap 4 already with Esteban Ocon. He's going for a double move on both Verstappen and Verstappen, who leads the race, but nothing doing there as but Ocon can only retain P2, as now Gasly's now having a look at Bottas and wonder if Bottas may have picked up some damage, or has got a little bit of an issue as they're going slow through for Ascari, and that's going to allow us to go 3 wide with both Bottas and Gasly. We've got the better exit. We haven't got the faster engine, we've got the slowest out of those 3, because the Honda and the AlphaTauri and the Mercedes engine in the Mercedes is the only two faster engine lovers. But we're going to have DRS on Gasly. Gasly should have potentially waited, and this is just going to be easy pickings for us. And we're out of Ascari. We go side by side on the entry to Parabolica, although Magnussen then yields and Ocon has put in a faster lap. We're going to try the little sneaky tactic of going on that bit of the track, but as Gasly puts in a fastest lap. I'm not sure what happened to Gasly. I think he may have got some front wing damage, rather some minor contact with me. It was such a shame. He would have been up there fighting Magnussen for 3rd place. If it wasn't for Magnussen, Ocon has gone and obliterated the fastest lap. He's in another world. He's won the Grand Prix. So close up to the line. But fortunately, Magnussen runs out of room. And it's P2 for us. Our first podium for the team. And our first podium since Austria. When we were driving for Red Bull. Season 4 saw a rebrand as Alpine. But the difficulties from Season 3 and not being at the front started to show throughout Season 4, with time after time of poor qualifying, until we got to the United States, where I qualified in the top 10 for the first time that season. At Mexico, I qualified 8th, and that gave us a very good chance of some really big points. Usual, as we come through into the stadium section, 4.5 tenths up we are on our previous best time. Sainz has improved ahead of Norris. Can we knock Norris out of the top 10? Yes, we can. Half a second improvement, and we go into P8. So for only the second, we haven't been in the top 10 for a while, and then all of a sudden we've made it there twice in a row. 5 lights on that, and away we go for the Mexican Grand Prix. It's a good start, better than Leclerc, who had a terrible start up in there in the 7th, and we overtaken. Bottas has had a terrible start as well. Hamilton is already ahead of his teammate into turn 1. I'm going to try and go around the outside. Can we get Hamilton as well around the outside to turn 1? Yes, we can. We have a little look at Albon as well. Nothing to do there. Hamilton comes back to us in turn 2. Luckily not to get any damage there with a little bit of tyre banging, and Hamilton sticks behind us. We move up into P5 now as we're all over the back of Albon. Sebastian Vettel, by the way, of all people, leads this race. So having a very good race for Ferrari. Ferrari is starting to come back. I mean, especially in later races, they led to Singapore. Leclerc was robbed of victory. Can Vettel get victory here? Although we're having a look at, while I was talking about that, we got round the outside of Albon as a nice easy overtake. He gave the space, and Albon able to get the move done into the latter half of the middle sectors. We now close in on Gasly, who's been forced out by Verstappen, and now we're going to have the inside line in the third DRS straight into the stadium section. Thank you very much, and we're on to the podium. I'll challenge us for the podium as we watch Verstappen, who is out of the race with an engine failure on lap 12. Wow, this is going to change everything. So we're not in longer fighting for P2, and the safety car's being deployed as well. Lead, and the safety car is coming in at the end of lap 14. Vettel is not bolted yet. I'd have bolted by now if I was Vettel, and now he bolts. But he's not caught us napping as he would like to, and we're going to have to make the move here, otherwise Bottas is going to be over it, using the slipstream and all the ERS and the straight line speed, and pulling to the outside. Vettel comes back at us on the inside into turn 1. We keep it up footing though, and moving into turn 2 we get the better exit and up into the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix. But Vettel isn't going to give up that. This could be, if he leaves Ferrari in the season, this could be a last chance for Ferrari to get a win this season, having not won so far. But jumping to lap 17, of course, it's that third DRS straight where the Vettel is most strong over myself. This time we defend the inside, learning from our previous endeavours against Gasly, and we once again defend the inside on lap number 18. This is the final lap coming into the stadium section. Vettel is not close enough, so it's looking like we're going to be good enough to get our first victory in this career mode for 2 seasons. Round the final corner we come. Vettel isn't close enough, a little bit wide out of the final corner, but we've come across the line for victory. Fantastic. Season 5 saw me make a move to Ferrari, and what a car the red car was. Going for the championship, which went down to the finale at Brazil. But the championship wasn't easy, and the fight came hotted up after Italy in the monsoon rain, with 2 safety cars in only the 13 laps there. Well, okay, Well, this is a first for me. Never had the monsoon rain conditions in a race before. Full wet tyres then for what, the first time in a long time, but nevertheless, Viral lights are on, and the Monsoon Grand Prix is underway, and it's a dreadful start in the rain. I can't hardly see anything in the wet, just the braking line for the assist. We're going to dive it down the inside though. Vettel's dived way too early. We've almost skidded on, and Sainz I think as well is going to have a look at Vettel. So Vettel very slow. Initially had a good start, but Sainz into the middle sector up to the Lesbos section, and Sainz is going to go through. Vettel will come back at him on the left hand side, but Sainz will have the inside into the first of the Lesbos sections. The safety car has been deployed, and the safety car has been deployed because it's too wet. So obviously in real life we would have a red flag in this scenario, but obviously there are no red flags in this game. Safe conditions as the rear end switches once again. Our championship rival Carlos Sainz has been gone on the grass. This is very twitchy for ourselves, and Sainz has gone into the back of us and has lost a bit of our front wing. This is huge for the championship. This is big for the championship because Sainz is our closest rival. There's only 5 points separating us, and Sainz just literally, we had a moment on the grass and Sainz just can't get it stopping time. So obviously Sainz is coming in as we're coming out Parabolica. We're losing the back end. We've got front wing damage, and a whole load of cars have gone through. We're going to come in anyway because it's just, we just can't steer in these conditions. Being on to lap 12 then. Obviously there's only one person really in our race now, and that's Carlos Sainz. We're looking to set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. We're going side by side up towards Ascari. It's another purple middle sector, but Sainz is tyre banging and he's forced us off into Ascari, and we've been ordered to give the position back, which is so annoying considering the fact we just had nowhere to go really to keep the position going on the track. But nevertheless, we will look to get him out of Parabolica, having a better time on the intermediates. There's more traction for us, unlike on the wets where there was absolutely nothing in these conditions, and it's going to be such an easy time. Even with that, given the place back, we still set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. We're going to go side by side with Sainz up to turn 1. Sainz brakes early, and we move ahead up into a dismal P18. I don't know, the Renault has improved, but at the same time he's just not there really in terms of pace, and he's come out behind us. And I think if we time this correctly, he's actually going to come out behind Giovinazzi, so he's going to get delayed behind the Alfa Romeo. So we now jump to lap 12. A lap later, Bottas is coming out of the pits now. This is going to be very close. Has the undercut worked? We just come out in front of Bottas. And then the lap later, lap 13, Sainz is in as well, so he's come in for his mediums, and it's a little bit less close with Sainz, but Sainz has jumped Bottas, so that was the end of that lap. Bottas can't get past us, so we're coming across the line to win the World Championship. Season 6 saw me move to Alfa Romeo, and in this final season, a miracle happened at Canada. We're starting in P16, Jeff. 16th. It is going to be a tough one, I think. But anyway, we're going to start on the mediums. We're gonna gamble. We're going to start on the mediums, and we're going to hopefully it will rain enough that it will be time for intermediates. And jumping to lap 13, Jeff calls us in. Now I don't know if this is just Jeff rolling the dice himself, thinking it's time for a pit stop, or whether it's just Jeff actually being great. Anyway, I think it's time. It might be just time as well, so we're just going to comply anyway and come in. We need to make a pit stop anyway. Might be a little tad early, or no, it's not. It's going to be perfect timing. DRS disabled just then. Norris is in as well. I think Ocon is in, even though he pitted to hard tyres. I mean, don't ask me why. Giovinazzi come through. We're coming out in P10, a little bit of understeer, excuse me, but it is definitely time for Inters. And now we've got Giovinazzi on the exit of the straight line, the back straight, and Giovinazzi has no answer on those medium tyres. It's definitely time for Inters as it's getting wetter and wetter out here. Into the pits then come the Red Bulls, Mercedes, they're double stacking. That red dot is Charles Leclerc. Vettel and Magnussen have stayed out. Will we come out ahead of Leclerc and retain what will be effectively the race lead? Leclerc is on the outside, but we get the better traction out of turn 2. Thank you very much. And that should be a race victory for Alfa Romeo, especially the fact that Sebastian Vettel is now out of the race with an engine failure, so Leclerc is going to get big points over him in the championship. But you can see there, Magnussen in, we retake the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix. I didn't think we were going to be on the top step, never mind the podium, and we got the podium last time out. And now, well, Leclerc had no answer to us really, wasn't able to get close enough, not really with the DRS disabled, and in the end we come across the line for, let's say, an unprecedented and very gambled. We gambled today and we gambled with victory and we got it. I did not believe that we would be able to. I thought the strategy was good, but not that good. What a journey it has been then, over the past 6 seasons. 89 episodes and 90 races. There's one final race to come then, 100% race around Brazil, the track where I won my one and only World Championship. What a series this has been then, the ups, the downs, the turmoil, the controversy, and the delightful moment of stepping out onto the podium. Even the amount of safety cars we've had cannot spoil the journey we have had, the successes that we have made in this series. And as Murray Walker used to say, anything can happen in Formula One, and of course, it usually does.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that.
Things looked close between you and your rival for a bit, but you came out on top, didn't you? You scraped the walls a few times. Were you struggling for grip?
Cannot be serious!
I see you've been skipping a lot of practice sessions lately. Keep in mind that practice is useful to get used to the track, improve your car setups, and also helps us gather data for car development. Make sure you don't jeopardize your results by taking these sessions too lightly. So what have you got against practice sessions? Even if you're confident in your setup, these sessions are still useful for development data.